So, hi, I would like to talk today about sleep paralysis. This is a topic who's highly sought after by some people who go into the topic of out of body experiences, and this is a topic that will come up when you do some deeper research on out of body experiences. Well, how do I get to this topic? I had the thought, I had the question, how and why are we humans go unconscious when we fall asleep? So I always try to look at the bigger picture, and that's why I compare human behaviors with animal behaviors. And it is very unlikely that birds and animals who are prey animals, that they go unconscious for even a couple of minutes before they go asleep, because that could very well mean the end of their life if they don't, if they are not careful, if they're not aware of what's around them. And what I know for a fact is that most of the people, all the people I know, have a period of time between day consciousness and dream consciousness. Okay, we cannot really say how long this time was. We hear from friends or people who sleep in our bed or in our home, well, you go to sleep very, very fast, or we know when we can't fall asleep fast. We know that we twisted in the bed for a long time, but we don't really know when our dreams started. That is the period I'm talking about. And I wanted to know what's in there, what happens with me in that time of which I have no conscious of. And so I forced myself to stay awake. I said, if I'm going to dream, if I'm going to fall asleep, I will fall asleep while I'm awake. That was my prompt, so to speak, for this exercise. So I, of course, I didn't get it right at the first time. I fall asleep without knowing it. I woke up and I tried it again. But I had two experiences. One was at my own will, and one was unwillingly. In fact, this unwanted, unasked for experience brought me to this question: what happens actually in the time between wake and asleep? So I have, you can say, multiple experiences about about this, but I will um, I will describe now what happened as I really forced myself to stay awake till I dream. And I was laying in bed, eyes open, and waited for to fall asleep. And at some moment, I started to feel like a thread, like a thread in my feet, beginning from the biggest toe, and moving upwards through my body, through that was at the same time through both feet. So there were two threads in the feet beginning at the same time, going up through every centimeter of my body, through the knees, of course, the big bones of the thighs, because I cannot actually say it was through the bones, because it was like a thread. It was like a line, but the awakeness of this movement, the awareness of this movement was like a point moving through a line, okay? And it moved up and up, of course, from the base of my where the feet are finishing, and it starts in the deep part of the belly. It was one line, so the two lines from the feet got together in one line, and it went up, and then my consciousness of myself as a being left the body. This point of consciousness left the body through the highest point of my brain, of my of my head, where they say it's this part where the bones by at birth where they are not yet tied together, where the bones of the skull can still be moved a little bit. There is a place there, I don't know how it's called in English, but in Latin it's called fontanella, and this is where I that point of consciousness left the body, and I stood beside my body in that moment. I won't talk about what I dreamt or what happened afterwards, because I was still aware. This awareness of myself was out of the body now, because I want to focus now on the sleep paralysis. So this whole action from the toe to the head, it was quite fast, but if I would put it in time feeling, in a time experience, I would say it was maybe 2 or 3 seconds. So it was quite fast, because I experienced um, the whole line, at every point, at every centimeter of my body, I was feeling this point moving through my body in this line. And the feeling of sleep paralysis was that behind the point, so where the point has moved away from, so from the toe up to the head, but behind the point, my body felt cold, very cold, very heavy, and I couldn't move any little part of it. It was like that behind that point. So of course I was at the beginning where the feet, where I didn't feel the feet any longer. It was quite interesting, but it was so fast that I really got frightened, because I understood afterwards, of course, well, as I thought about it, I understood that is quite frightening for us humans to lose control of our bodies. We don't realize that we control the bodies with our thoughts, but this was the proof for me, as I lost complete control. So behind the point of consciousness, the body was like that for me. I felt that is nothing I can do there. It was like it wasn't mine any longer. Okay? So, and before I was, of course, warm and cozy, feeling the bed, feeling normal, I would say, yes, like an alive person. And it was so striking, different ahead of the point and behind the point, that I got very, very scared while this was happening. But then I remembered that I asked for it. I wanted to know. I wanted to know why I go unconscious when I fall asleep. So I wanted to. I knew that was the answer, because I wanted to know it, and it was shown to me. So the process itself, it is very short. It's only 2 or 3 seconds if we're going to measure it by time units. But the feeling of it is so frightening that I didn't want to experience this again for a very, very long time. Okay? I am not fearful of this any longer, because I know my consciousness cannot die. But it's still frightening. And I understood that for most of us, people who stick to the body as to the soul life we can experience, because we dismiss the dream experiences as not legit, as not so real or something like this. They are not so important as our day consciousness or day experiences when we are awake. So that's why if we would experience that loss of control over the ship of our life as we perceive it, that is our body, our flesh and blood body, this would be so frightening that I think that most of the people would die of exhaustion before they would want to experience sleep paralysis. So that's my take on this topic, and you're very welcome to write your own experiences about sleep paralysis. I'm always glad to learn something new and hear about your experiences, about other experiences as mine. Thank you and have a good day.